What if you could draw a map, but not of a place? What if it was a map of an idea? Or, what if you could draw a map of reality itself? For centuries, we've been trying to create these systems that explain our whole world in one, single, unified vision. So today, we're going to follow the quest to create one of these theories of everything and see how it all grows from the simplest possible spark.
And this is not a new idea, right? We've been at this forever. We've always had this deep, deep need to visually map our place in the cosmos. You can see it right here in the incredible detail of the Aztec Sunstone. That's a whole universe carved in rock, organizing time, gods, creation, everything in one coherent picture.
Then you fast forward to the Renaissance, and the whole focus shifts. Think about Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. The goal was still about finding that unifying order, but now humanity itself, our proportions, our perspective, was suddenly at the very center of that cosmic design.
And that long, long history, it brings us all the way to this. A modern design, it's born from digital tools, but it's every bit as intricate and ambitious as any ancient map. It's this complex web of lines and circles. But a map of what? This is where our story really gets going.
So, what's the common thread here? What possibly connects an ancient cosmic calendar, a Renaissance drawing of the human body, and this crazy complex digital blueprint? Well, at the end of the day, they're all trying to do the same thing: build a model that makes sense of everything.
So to really understand that final complex design, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. And it doesn't start with complexity. It starts with the simplest idea you can imagine.
It all started right here, with a simple hand-drawn sketch of two overlapping circles. Seriously, that's it. No grand plan, no complex geometry, just a fundamental shape. And from this tiny little seed, that whole complex system we saw, it grew from this very spot.
And that just goes to show you, right? Some of the most elaborate, most intricate systems, they often spring from the simplest building blocks. It's all about how you put those simple pieces together and let them grow.
Okay, so you've got two circles. Now what? How do you turn a simple shape into a functional model? Well, the next step was to give it some structure, to give it a frame.
So a rectangle was drawn right over the circles. And this simple little addition, it's actually a huge leap. It creates what's called a frame of view. And right away, it introduces these big ideas of structure, boundaries, perspective. It's dividing the visual space into what's inside and what's outside.
And you see that little handwritten note there? Depth perception? That is the whole key. This wasn't just about abstract shapes. The creator was trying very specifically to build a model of how we actually see the world, how our own vision processes depth and space.
So basically, this frame of view becomes a tool. It's a conceptual blueprint for how we organize all the stuff we see. What's in the foreground, what's in the background, and how we figure out the distance between them. Okay, hang on, because this next step, this is where everything changes. This is where the model goes from being a tool for just seeing space into something way, way bigger, a map for organizing experience itself.
Now check this out. In this next sketch, the creator adds new labels: dialogue and soundtrack, background, and time/moment. Whoa. All of a sudden, these geometric shapes are being given abstract, non-visual concepts. This is the exact moment a simple drawing becomes a theory.
Let's break that down real quick. Circle 1 isn't just a circle anymore. It now represents what we hear, dialogue and sound. Circle 2, that's the setting, the context. And Circle 3 represents time itself, a specific moment. The geometry has become a filing system for experience.
And that is a huge deal. The system has made this massive leap. It's not a simple drawing about visual depth anymore. It is literally transformed into a conceptual map for breaking down and organizing the fundamental pieces of our lived experience: sight, sound, and time. All right, so how in the world do you get from a few notes in a sketchbook to that incredibly complex design we saw at the very beginning? Well, that's where digital tools come in, and they allow for refinement and basically infinite expansion. This image just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the raw, messy, conceptual idea scribbled on paper. And on the right, you see that same idea, but it's evolved into this precise, perfectly repeating, and endlessly complex digital system. It's the same core idea, just taken to its absolute extreme.
You can really trace the whole path it took. It started with a spark, right? Those two little circles. That became a framework once those abstract labels were added.
Then it got turned into a digital blueprint, cleaning up the geometry. And finally, that blueprint was repeated and layered over and over to create the final system.
And this brings us right back to where we started, to our original question. What is this system really for? What's its ultimate purpose?
Well, when you put this modern design right next to the Aztec Sunstone, suddenly it all just clicks. They're both these incredibly ambitious attempts to create a single, unified visual system that can hold and explain everything, whether that's the entire cosmos or just a single personal experience.
So what is it? I guess you could call it a blueprint for perception, a way of breaking down how we see and hear and experience a moment in time. Or maybe it's something more than that. Maybe it's a personal map of reality, totally unique to the person who made it.
You know, when we look out at the world, we just see light and shape. But underneath all that, our minds are constantly using some kind of internal model, right? A hidden structure to make sense of it all. Every single thing we perceive is an interpretation.
Which leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending question. When we try to draw a map of everything that's out there, are we actually just drawing a map of the complex, beautiful, and intricate system that's already inside our own minds? What do you think?